Let's be very clear about something. The single greatest threat to your trading capital, it isn't a market crash, it's not a bad algorithm, it's an operational flaw, an invisible enemy that's embedded in your own thinking, and it is working against you on every single trade you take. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about this. What if the market isn't the problem? What if the real battle, the one that truly matters, is happening right between your ears? This is the fundamental question that every serious operator has to answer if they want to survive, let alone thrive. So in this breakdown, we're going to dissect this problem piece by piece and give you the exact framework to solve it. We'll start by defining the invisible enemy. Then we'll look at how it corrupts your analysis, why it makes backtesting a complete delusion. And then we'll pivot to the solution, how you can forge your mental armor and execute with an objective, bulletproof process. All right, first things first, we have to define the enemy. And look, this isn't some abstract psychology. This is a concrete, operational flaw that is actively costing you capital right now. That flaw is called confirmation bias. Simply put, it's the tendency for your brain to go on a mission to find evidence that proves you're right, while completely dismissing anything that suggests you might be wrong. It's not a personality trait. You're not weak for having it. It's a bug in the human operating system that, for a trader, is an absolute performance destroyer. So how does this bug actually show up in your day-to-day operations? This is where it gets really dangerous, because it systematically corrupts the one thing you rely on most, your analysis. You see, the moment you form an opinion, I think this stock is going up, the mission of your brain completely changes. It stops being an objective investigator looking for the truth. Instead, it becomes a lawyer, building the best possible case for a decision it's already emotionally invested in. And in the markets, that is a fatal error. This right here is the internal conflict every single trader faces. On one side, you've got your hope, your belief, what you want to happen, and on the other, you have the cold, hard data. Bias is that powerful force that makes you focus on the story you want to be true while you actively ignore what the market is screaming at you. You see the breakout, but you completely miss the weak volume behind it. And this leads to predictable, absolutely destructive behaviors. You start pattern fitting, forcing a head and shoulders pattern onto a chart where it doesn't really exist. You cherry pick the one indicator that gives you that buy signal while 5 others are flashing warning signs. You dismiss critical red flags like bearish divergence as just market noise. And worse, you retreat into social media echo chambers where everyone agrees with you, making it impossible to see when you're dead wrong. Now let's talk about where this bias does its most subtle and maybe its most damaging work, backtesting. This is the very tool that most traders believe is their shield against subjectivity. But I'm telling you, bias turns it into a weapon against your own account. This quote really says it all. Bias forces you to look at your backtesting data selectively. You put all the emphasis on the winning streaks and you rationalize the losses as just flukes or one-off events. The result? You build a strategy on a foundation of completely false confidence. So let's look at the mechanics of this delusion. You interpret the results selectively, giving yourself a false sense of security. You rationalize the losses away as exceptions, which means you fundamentally misunderstand the real risk you're taking on. And you cherry-pick the data, only testing on timeframes where your strategy looked good. Your supposedly data-driven edge, well, it just becomes a mirage. And the financial consequences of this are severe, and they are direct. This false confidence leads to oversized positions because you're convinced you're right. It leads to sloppy, inadequate stop losses because you just don't believe the market will actually move against you. And worst of all, it leads to over-leveraging, which introduces catastrophic account-ending risk. This right here is how capital is destroyed. Okay, so that's the problem. It's deep, it's systematic, and it is incredibly costly. Now, let's talk about the solution. This is about forging your mental armor. It's about making a fundamental shift from a subjective mindset to an objective operational framework. And this is the most crucial point I can make. You cannot defeat a cognitive bias with willpower. Just trying harder to be objective is guaranteed to fail. The only solution is to implement a superior operating system for your thinking, a structured process that makes bias totally irrelevant. This new operating system is built on 4 pillars. Number 1, you have to acknowledge the bias exists and that it is affecting you. Number 2, you create a non-negotiable rules-based checklist for every single trade. Number 3, and this is critical, you must actively hunt for evidence that proves your idea wrong. Your job isn't to be right, your job is to find the truth. And number 4, you maintain a detailed trading journal, documenting your reasoning so you can go back and spot these destructive patterns of bias over time. This framework builds directly into the final and most important phase, objective execution. This is where you stop trading opinions and you start running your trading like a high-performance business. A professional, documented process leaves zero room for bias to creep in. It means you have clear, non-negotiable entry criteria. It means your position sizing is a mathematical formula, not based on how confident you feel. It means your exit strategy, for both wins and losses, is defined before you ever click the buy button. And it means your review process is about analyzing data to improve your system, not to make excuses for a bad outcome. Here is the single most powerful tool you can use starting right now. Before you even think about entering a trade, you have to be able to answer this question with absolute clarity. What specific piece of market information would invalidate my thesis? If you can't answer that, you have no business risking your capital on that trade. Period. Ultimately, it all comes down to this one question. Are you operating a professional trading business based on an objective process, or are you just out there gambling on your own beliefs and hoping that you're right? How you answer that question is going to determine your entire future in this game. Look, if you've made it this far, you're not just curious. You're serious. And that is exactly who Stoa was built for. So here's the deal. We don't accept everyone. We run on an application-only system because we only work with people who are truly ready to operate at the next level. So if you want to stop wasting hours chasing noise and instead run a proven, documented process that actually gets results in less than 90 minutes a day, this is your chance. I'll be straight with you, there are limited seats available, and once they're filled, they're gone for the entire quarter. Click the link in the description, fill out the short application, and let's see if you're a fit. If you're watching this, my guess is you already know you should.